What's going on, guys? It is Victoria and Ian here from Radioactive, and today we are joined by Ricky Armellino from Ice Nine Kills. How are you doing today, Ricky?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Awesome, awesome. Ian and I are super stoked to have you on the show today, and we just wanted to start off by talking about Ice Nine Kills' newest song that you guys had released, a work of art.
Yeah.
Ian and I actually did a full episode a couple weeks ago talking about just how awesome the music video was and the song, and just being a part of
Oh, thank you.
Terrifier 3. So we just wanted to start off by talking about that and ask you kind of what it was like to be a part of filming such like a theatrical video and just having it be a part of Terrifier 3.
Oh, I mean, it was cool. I am not so much on the end of like the video stuff, so I did find out what we were doing like a couple weeks before. I had a conversation with Spencer. I'm like, all right, what's this fucking video gonna be? And he was like, oh, we're gonna take a baby out of a pregnant woman, and that's when he t told me Catherine Cochran was gonna be there. I was like, oh shit, Kat's gonna be there because Kat is awesome. She's a close friend of mine. So we were there. The hours were very long, but the thing is, most of the video was, shots of the audience and stuff like that. So I was over in another room for the most part, just yucking it up with everybody and chewing the fat, and got a chance to meditate a few times every now and then. And then I'd go in the main film room and grab some clips for Instagram every now and then. And they really didn't. So the first day was like 13 hours, second day was 14 hours. They didn't really need the band as much until later. In that we did a couple band shots early on, and then we had like 4 hours on that stage where we were doing like the band shots and everything with like David and everything like that. And then I think I left at like 4:30 in the morning.
Wow,
Oh my,
holy.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it.
oh my God, that's buck wild. Well, tell us, what was your favorite part about working on that set on the video? What was your favorite part about interacting with David Howard Thornton?
Well, David's, I mean, he's a normal guy. I like him a lot. I was fucking with him quite a bit during the filming. Um, 'Cause I kept I kept making jokes about, the thing about music videos that's really funny is eh, the music video itself. When I describe what my experience uh is like, um being in the music video, word for word, not changing not swapping anything out, not exaggerating anything, just exactly what is actively happening in the room. It's still the weirdest fucking dream that I've ever had. It's bizarre, you know what I mean? Like I'm like playing a guitar, there's a cable in it, but nothing's coming out. But then somebody else hits play and the guitars come out of something, and then some this woman Tiffany, who's, she's helping run shit, her microphone is on, and when she talks into it, something's coming out. Spencer's microphone's off. There's fans in the room. They're not in the middle of the room. There's a giant gib which holds a camera. It's like this giant crane with a camera on it. And then the clown from Terrifier's on stage, and they're asking him to play Joe's bass. Joe's on the ground for some reason. We have Dan and Miles there. So all of us are playing guitar. We're like, wait, you know, and then the fucking bass player of System of a Down showed up. And at this point I'm like fully sleep deprived. I have no idea what the fuck's happening. And and like literally word for word, that just sounds like a weird dream I was having. And then they did something, they put something in my jacket called blood packets. And then there were these like copper wires, these thick copper wires that ran all the way down through my pants. And just there were blood packets. And then somebody comes up and coaches us through having blood packets in our clothing. And they explain that they're going to explode. So we have to keep our chins up and to not move too quickly, because otherwise we will tear the plastic. So yeah, it's just a really weird dream, pretty much.
Kind of like an out of body experience where you're kind of
Yeah.
in this this mindset of reality versus disbelief, right?
Yeah, you're just tired and you're just like your day just keeps getting weirder. And then they finally feed us at like midnight and they keep referring to it as lunch.
That's gotta mess with you though. You're probably so tired and you're like, wait, it's not noon.
Wait, this isn't lunch? What the fuck are you talking about?
What do they feed you?
Films.
What do they feed you guys?
I was like, it was PF Chang's. So I lied and told production I had a food allergy. Finally, they're like, "What food allergy do you have?" Just so we know, I was like, "Oh, I have respect for myself."
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking around. No, it's actually no. Truth be told, we had like some of the best barbecue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, yeah, it was excellent.
You said PF Chang's, and my mind immediately went to, I don't know if you watch South Park or not, but there's that episode where Randy is like trying to make the world's biggest turd and he eats PF Chang's and then he breaks the world record. And it's really funny, but it's really stupid.
I never saw that one.
Now, Ian, I'm just gonna sidebar here quick. Are all music videos that like Ice Nine Kills do, like, are they all to like that level of just like production wise?
Yeah, I think the Terrifier one was surely the biggest one, but yeah, they've all had a pretty since Silver Scream 2 came out, they've all had a pretty thorough level of production going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say because Welcome to Horrorwood, like that's a pretty like cool music video and seems like it would
Oh
have
yeah.
a lot behind it.
Oh yeah, no, there's tons of work. I mean, Phoenix and Jensen, they're insane. It's awesome.
I have a question. So if you, let's say you, Ricky, have a specific movie in mind, like it could be a horror movie or an action
Alien.
movie. Alien?
Alien.
You want to do a song for Alien?
Yeah.
Tight. No, dude, I literally just saw Alien Romulus with my dad. My dad
I
and
haven't
I.
seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No. No, I want to
It's
see it at some point. Looks scary.
it's pretty good. I think I really love Prometheus.
Yeah.
Prometheus is one of my
I
favorite
thought I
movies.
thought Prometheus, yeah, I thought that movie was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the original Alien. I think it's
Mhm.
awesome. It's just an excellent movie.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Sigourney Weaver, dude. She's
No.
phenomenal.
No, I thought the second I thought Aliens plural um it, I felt like that was the result of a bunch of executives being like, "Look, I want to see like 20 fucking aliens in it within the first 20 minutes and there better be machine guns." And like I felt the same way. I had 28 Days Later was always one of my favorite movies. And then you see, have you ever seen that movie?
Dude, it's very vague. For some reason, my mind always jumps to 30 Days a Night anytime I
Oh
hear
yeah.
28 Days Later. I don't know. I
28
guess
days
it's a number thing, but
28 days later, not, it's from like 2002, so I hope I'm not spoiling it for anybody. But there is a climatic scene that involves somebody getting some thumbs in their eyes, and it is an emotionally gripping moment of the movie. It is. Ugh! And 28 weeks later came out. It was the next one. And somebody has that shit happen to them, I think like 10 minutes into the movie. And as far as I know, I think it happens like two more times within the next, the ensuing next like 15 minutes of the movie. And it was just like, there were some requests from that studio. So I always feel weird watching a movie where, you see, you can hear the conversation that happened before the movie where they're like, "You better give me this. I want to see eyeballs getting busted out of head. You better make that happen 3 times. The beginning of the movie. No setup."
so Ricky, you obviously I can very well imagine it stands to reason that you've seen the Terrifier 3 movie, right?
Yes.
Or at least you've seen Terrifier 1 or Terrifier 2, correct?
I saw Terrifier 2 in the theater and I saw a lot of Terrifier 3. I
Okay.
have a I have a new sensitivity to some of the stuff in it. So like there was a lot of this going on.
I was going to say that kind of transitions into my question. So, what
Uh,
was a moment in watching any of the Terrifier movies where you were like, "Oh my dear God"?
I mean, I'm just not really that interested in seeing hypergore. It just it sticks with me too long. I think about it, and as a person that has a lot of stuff to do, if I'm getting distracted being like thinking about something from a movie that would suck, I find myself getting frustrated being like, why would I why would I invite this? You know what I mean? So as soon as it starts getting gooey and gross, I generally check out. But you see like you're still gonna see stuff and you see a lot of aftermath and stuff like that. But I did talk to David about it. I was like, yeah, I held my eyes shut for a pretty big chunk of those movies. And he was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I told Ian when we were talking about the work of art music video a couple weeks ago. I'd said I love Ice Nine Kills, but I do not watch horror movies, which is like really funny.
Yeah,
But like
if we're being
watching,
I'm friends with Catherine, not watching it.
yeah.
I went and looked at one of the little cameras that like has like the scene, and I watched some of it while it was getting filmed, and it was just like I like her too much to watch this. And so I like, you know what I mean? It's just not how you want to see your friends being, though her acting is incredible. She's awesome. You know what I mean? Like everybody in it's awesome. Spencer, amazing, everybody amazing, but it's just like, when it just comes to people getting obliterated, eh. Just not something I want to have in my mind's eye when I'm like meditating and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I told Ian. I was like, it's nice because like with Ice Nine Kill songs, I feel like I don't have to watch the movie to get like the idea and the point of the movie. So I can
Well,
just
there's a
but
I did think a lot of Terrifier too. It's cartoonish, and that's the one thing that it gets away with some of it. So I did find myself there are a couple kill scenes I really didn't mind that much because they border into like comic book territory, which like I've read. I remember there was a comic book series Crossed. I didn't mind it in an illustration. You know what I mean? The Walking Dead series. I read the whole graphic novel series. Watched the show. None of that. There were a couple scenes that bugged me, but since it all kind of takes place within a drama, there's always like there's a reason for it. So for whatever reason, my brain categorize, and this is stupid because I'm in the horror movie band. My brain categorizes it differently, but with horror movies, it's essentially like a form of being like, hey, come to this movie. We're gonna set up situations, and you're gonna get to watch somebody just get fucked up. And for whatever reason, my brain categorizes that as like, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I still went and saw it on Spencer's birthday, Terrifier 2 with him. It was fun. It's like playing synthwave and shit. I thought that was fun.
I cannot watch those movies. Ian, when Terrifier 2 came out, he was telling me all about it. I'm like, I'm not, from what you're describing, that does not make me want to be like, hop in my car
Well,
and drive to the
work on
theater.
a movie or like, oh yeah, I can't watch most of it. People, you know what I mean? It's just it is a it takes a very specific type of psycho, which fortunately my singer is.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, our friend Nicole, our friend Ruth, and I don't know about Cassidy or Bellamy or Aaron, but Ruth and Nicole and I, we love horror movies, and those are two friends of
Nice.
ours. And me personally, my dad kind of, you know, got me in tune with all of the horror movies that I know and love today. Like I think the very first one I ever watched was House on Haunted Hill. It's an
Oh,
oldie,
nice.
but it's excellent, right? But with Terrifier, even I, a connoisseur that I am, I was like, oh my,
Yeah.
like you have to like grind your teeth sometimes and like grip something, but I can keep my eyes open. I'm not a chump, but even I'm like, all right, this is pretty grotesque, but it's
Hey, you know,
bearable.
it's it's an it's a form of art that some people are like they just got the thing for it. And the thing is though, when it starts coming in, when it I love like sci-fi movies never bother me. Zombie movies, those never bother me too much. Nightmare on Elm Street, I watched some of those when I was young and they were scary, but like you grow up and you kind of they take a new place, Friday the 13th, all of these movies, there's this certain form of camp which Terrifier totally nails, but they bring in this aspect of carnage to it where it's got the camp, it's got all of it. So and they're super fun. They land the acting so much. All the actors on it are so talented because they totally nail that like really sort of it's like this surreal vibe to it. And it's not only in the edits and it's not only the way everything's done, but it's like all the way down to the way that it's all just even acted out. There's this kind of like I think uncanny valley is a way of describing it that people say sometimes. Like it just is kind of like something about this just seems like a little disconnected from reality. And that's really fun. And I think that kind of separates it for me from like a movie that really fucked me up, which Hostel. When I watched
Ooh.
that in a van on tour with my first band years and years ago. And I remember that movie just stayed inside of my head for like a month. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And it was so unpleasant to me. Now, did the movie do what it sorted out to do? Yeah. So is it a great movie? Yeah, absolutely. Great movie. Just, was it pleasant for me? No.
I
Which I think
think
they would appreciate to hear that.
yeah, I think part of what makes Hostel for whether it be for you personally or just in general, I feel like what makes Hostel so horrifying is that,
What's
I've only been
realistic?
out of it.
They try to all of the acting in it, which is well done. They make it very realistic and
Yeah,
very and so
exactly.
there and
Exactly.
that's there's kind of some horror movies that tend to play into this sort of like did I did I eat mushrooms before this? Like everything seems to be a little hyper realistic, a little strange. And then there's some movies that really try to put you in this like, imagine if this happened to you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
those ones I find myself struggling with a little bit more, which I think Terrifier falls a little bit more under Camp One, but it takes the violence from Camp Two and kind of puts it in there. But then it throws enough explanation points on it that, at first you're like, but then there's just more and more guts coming out, and it kind of starts turning into sort of like a Quentin Tarantino situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Gotta love Quentin Tarantino, man. All the ceaseless violence, but it plays into the art for
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, back to Hostel, it is realistic because I've only been out of the country one time, whereas someone like Ricky, you've probably been out of the country multiple times with Ice Nine Kills. In fact, you have. And
Well, I've toured in a couple bands, so I've been to Europe. I think I've done like 6 European tours, two Australian, been to Mexico twice, Canada maybe 7 times, maybe 8. I can't remember now. I think the number of tours I've done is over 70.
but yeah, I mean, like, see, and that's the thing. You leave the country so often, and then you watch a movie like Hostel, you're like, oh my God, this is something that could this is something that could actually happen to me.
No, you just learn from the mistakes of the characters.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of have your sword and your shield going into it, like, all right, I'm not going to be like that dude from Hostel. I'm going to be smart, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So, Ricky, you're in another band called Hawk, and you
Yeah.
guys just released a new song in October, I think it was, called Justify. Can you tell us
Yes.
a little bit about this song and just how do you have time to work on other music just with Ice Nine's like crazy tour schedule?
Well, this is my studio. This is one of my studios. I run a studio in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm also a partner with one in Woodland Hills, California as well. So I go back and forth. Um, Producing music's my life. Hawk has been kind of my project that I sing for, and I actually performed a lot of the stuff on Justify. I worked on it with this fella KJ Strock, and also his incredible sound designer Jesse Zaretti, and a couple other people. Like one of my best friends helped out on mixing. Andreas Magnuson, but Justify was kind of like the most radio song that I had ever put together in my life. And it was like, oh, we are going to release the shit out of this. And Hawk hadn't released anything in a couple years. So I was actually in the middle of getting ready to sign Hawk and pursue that. And then I got a phone call in 3 days' notice to go fill in for Ice Nine Kills. And then that started picking up and that became everything, really. But I have to make a living when I'm home. So when I'm back from tour, I am just producing artist after artist. And I often just try to take time and make my own stuff. And then every now and then you make something that's special enough that you're going to put the money behind the release and go throw it out into the wild. So Justify was kind of that. It was like it had been 3 years since the last Hawk release, and we were like, dude, I want to do Hawk. I'm bored. I want to say, I love singing on stuff. I love getting a chance for people to hear my production, all that stuff. So those things are fulfilling for me and they're fun. So I got that. I was in the middle of working on a bunch of stuff. I was working on a full length for this artist, Marin Altman, and then there's a bunch of other bands. If Not For Me, Take the Name. God, I'm forget. I there have been way too many of them, but so Hawk's been kind of like my personal passion project.
Yeah, I enjoy listening to Hawk. I got a couple of your guys' songs
Thank
on
you.
my playlist, and yeah, you got a great voice. So I know you do a lot of backing vocals for like Ice Nine, but it's cool to hear you like kind of
Oh, thanks.
main vocal. So
Yeah, yeah. It's something that was what I did through my 20s in bands. Just singing and touring and opening up. We opened up like a lot of tours. So, moving over to Ice Nine Kills, it was my first time being an instrumentalist in a band and, being the backup guy. And that's been an incredible learning lesson. It's been so much fun. It's been a really great time.
I kind of have a question that I kind
Sure,
of
what's
came
up?
up with the other day, and this is something I don't think I've ever asked anybody. I've been doing the show for about 2 years with Victoria, um, and I want to know personally, what is your workout routine like on tour, and how do you stay healthy and limber while on tour? What are some recommendations that you have?
Uh, so I became a really big meditation person over the last year. So that's been a huge part of my life. And that kind of feeds into a lot of the stuff that I do because I've kind of carried some of the skills I've gotten through. Like we're talking like hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. I generally meditate more on tour than I do when I'm home. Usually when home, it's like an hour a day. Um, on tour, I have more time. I'm not in the studio like grinding projects out and stuff like that. I'm a huge. I love yoga. Uh, I'm in my 30s, so I have to stretch a lot now just to make sure that I'm always staying like, um, staying on top of my muscles and stuff because tour is just not the ideal setting for the human body, especially as gain more years in your life. Sleeping in a bunk is not pretty. I There was a period of time, I'd say up until about a year ago, I was running an average like 6 7 miles a day. I kind of dialed back on that a little bit, just making sure I wasn't going to do any damage to my knees. I try to hit a gym. I try to make sure I do like 3 or 4 days of strength training a week. If we ever have like a hotel that we get a day room at or we stay at a hotel, anything like that, there's really frequently gyms in there. It's really easy to find local gyms close to venues. Venues very frequently, I can be like, hey, you guys know any gyms? And they're like, yeah, we have a partner gym. They let any of our artists come through. Just you guys just tag them on social media. You go, okay. So all of those things are options. But the main thing for me, I really make sure I do quite a bit of stretching every day. And some forms of stretching can border into like strength training and stuff like that, depending on like Ashtanga yoga and stuff like that. Because there's playing shows as frequently as rough on your body. It really is. And then I think like if there's nothing available, you can always do body weight workouts, push-ups, crunches, put chairs together, doing, prison workout type stuff. So these are all things I try to incorporate in on a daily basis. Just because if anytime I let that slip, I watch all other aspects of my life, my drive to get stuff done, my ability to switch from task to task gets worse, all those things. So, I'm not the person I was in my 20s where I could just fuck off and not worry about anything. I do love jump roping. That's another thing I enjoy doing on tour.
Nice.
Yeah, if I can ever find a punching bag, that's another that's another favorite.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The fun question I had down, we kind of answered. It was like talking about horror movies and stuff, if you watch them,
Yeah.
and we found out that you did. So instead, I'm gonna ask you, what is your favorite Ice Nine Kill song to play? Whether that's just if it's fun to play, or if it's the stage stuff that's going on while the song's playing.
Man, so I always have fun playing. I have a lot of fun lately playing Ex Mortis. We have a couple stage antics things that happen, but I've also since I joined the band, I always had a really special place for playing Me, Myself, and Hyde. I love that song.
Dude, that is the song that got me into Ice Nine Kills, dude.
I had nothing to do with it. It was just they're great. They've been a great band the whole time.
We have reached the part of the interview where we ask the signature radioactive official podcast question. And it goes like this. Ricky, you and Ice Nine Kills are on tour, right?
Yeah.
Your tour bus. But the tour bus breaks down. And it just so happens that the tour bus has broken down in front of a haunted house. That's your only place of refuge for the evening until morning. Here's the catch. From midnight until 6 in the morning, you are haunted. You and the band are haunted by a dead celebrity of your choosing. Who do you want to haunt you and why?
Quincy Jones.
That has to be
Want
the
to make a
fastest
hit?
answer that we've ever
I
gotten.
know, we've never had an answer that fast.
I want to make a hit.
I could dig it. I could dig it.
I love it.
Now, kind of refresh our memories. Who is Quincy Jones?
Producer of Thriller by Michael Jackson. A lot of Michael Jackson songs. One of the greatest producers of all time.
I
Love
can dig it.
Yeah.
I can dig it. I love it.
We didn't even have to give him our top three answers. I love
No,
it.
we didn't.
That was great. Would you like to
Just
hear our
like,
top three answers anyway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Number one has been Robin Williams. Number
Okay.
two, Betty White. And then third was tied with Michael Jackson and Elvis.
All right. Mine was close.
Yeah, it was with Michael Jackson. So, boom. But I love it. Awesome. I
Well, thank you
think,
guys so much for having me.
yeah, I think that kind of wraps up the interview. So, yeah, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on the
Of
show.
course.
I'm just really excited that this could happen. So, thank you so much for giving us a chance and coming on the show.
Of course. Well, it's nice to meet you guys.
thank you.
Good
Thank you
luck
so
with
much.
everything.
Thank you.